You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, unknown actors with me, Louise, the artistic director of Standby Method Acting Studio. And for the last 13 years, I've been taking unknown actors with blank CVs all the way to Netflix dramas, Amazon Prime films, TV soaps, and stage plays around the world. And every week I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid working unstoppable actor, because you 1000% can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready to dive into the episode? Hello and welcome to another deep dive episode of Unstoppable Actors, where this episode we are going to be focusing on the lines. Well, actually, not the lines. We're going to be looking beyond the lines. I am going to be sharing with you the secrets to deeper characters. Something that I have noticed in my time as an acting coach is that actors get all in a pickle with lines. It's not just something I noticed, it's something that acting coaches way before my time noticed as well. Lee Strasberg, for one. Lee Strasberg was the developer of the method. Sanford Meisner, he was the developer of the repetition exercise. He noticed this as well. Uta Hagen, all of the big acting gurus back in the day, in the 50s, 60s and 70s, also noticed actors getting all in a pickle and caught up with lines. What usually happens is we put so much emphasis on the lines to the detriment of the character connection. So we get all entangled in how to say them, whether we're saying them right. We also get caught up in repeating them parrot fashion. We get stuck saying lines in patterns. And none of this is useful for us in making those deep character connections. All it does is serves the purpose of creating an even bigger gap between us, the actor, and the character. So actually that character connection doesn't happen. We're creating distance. Now, when we're getting caught up in how we say the lines, whether we're saying them right, whether they sound natural, repeating them parrot fashion, getting stuck in patterns and rhythms with how we say them, all of this is because we have got caught up in mental tension. Mental tension is something I talk a hell of a lot about because it is the acting disease that we have to get rid of. And we have to medicate it with method acting exercises that will get us away from this mental tension. So if you're quite new to the podcast and you're not quite sure what mental tension is, it's any thought that blocks you from fully immersing into the role. Now, what you should know about mental tension is it is a part of your imagination. So whatever is going on in your head, whatever stories you are telling yourself in your head, they are your imagination. But in terms of acting, it's a misuse of your imagination. So some of the stories that we tell ourselves are, oh, I didn't say that line right. Or, oh, that line sounded a little bit weird. I need to make it sound more natural. Oh, gosh, what if I forget this line? Oh, my God, I can't remember this line. It sounds so like all of the others. And that's not an exhaustive list of mental tension, but those are the kind of things, it's just an example of the kind of things that we think about when it comes to lines, and that is mental tension. It's a misuse of your imagination. So instead, what we want to do is we want to get you into your pure imagination. Now, it's just a slight shift of the needle. When you get into your pure imagination, you are able to deliver performances that seal the deal for casting directors, and they leave your audiences completely moved and super excited to rush up to you at the end of the performance and tell you how much they loved it and how they were nearly in tears and how you moved them or how you left them speechless. So to do this, we have to move away from thinking about the lines. So I need you to stop giving so much emphasis to the lines. Stop thinking so much about them. Stop giving them so much energy. They're a part of acting, but they're not the entire story. And so in method acting, we have a lot of incredible exercises that we can use to move us away from thinking so heavily about the lines. And a couple of them are the gibberish exercise and the 3-word improv. These exercises train you to step away from focusing so much on them and instead get you into the imaginary given circumstances of the character, which is their life, essentially, the journey that they're on. So in gibberish, what you have to do is you're not allowed to say your lines with your scene partner as they're written in the script. You have to deliver them in gibberish, both of you, which means they're not in the language that you speak. It means instead you've got to focus on behaviour, because acting is about behaviour. It's a visual art. It's not an auditory art. Speaking accounts for 7% of communication. And then the 3-word improv is where we change 3 words. So they still have the same meaning, but we give a different word. We assign a different word to them. It stops you getting so caught up in the words, because it's training your brain to move away from just relying on emoting through words. But before you dive into those 2 exercises, you must get familiar with the script, and you must scoop out all of the character clues. So I want to give you 4 super helpful tips for you to do, that you could do today. You could come and join our Method Actors Circle. You could pick one of the monologues that we've got in the monologue ebooks for you, or you could pick one of the scripts we've got waiting for you inside there, and you could test these 4 tips out with a script from inside the Method Actors Circle. These are going to be game-changing for you. And then you could move on to the 3-word improv and the gibberish exercise once you've got these foundations down with these 4 tips. So the first one is you must read your script multiple times. It's not enough just to read your script once or twice. Anthony Hopkins, if you're familiar with him, is an older actor from a few generations ago. I believe he's like in his 70s, maybe coming up to his 80s. He has won countless awards for his work. He is an incredible actor. So if you're not familiar with him, I definitely recommend Googling him, seeing what films he's done, and watching a couple of films, or watching some of the HBO series that he was in, because you will learn a lot from his performances. But he reads his scripts 150 times. That is absolute dedication and commitment to his craft. And it is no wonder he gives such incredible, spellbinding, captivating performances. Now, I'm not saying you must read your scripts 150 times, but I am saying it's not enough to read it once or twice or 3 times or 4 times. The more you read it, the more clues you are going to uncover about your character. That makes it so much easier to be able to connect to them. The second tip is you must read your scripts from cover to cover, not just your scenes. If you are only reading your scenes, you are missing so many clues, and you are doing yourself a massive disservice, because you will create a surface level character, and what you'll end up doing is you'll end up playing the character the same way every other actor does, which means you don't stand out. And at this point in your career, it is vital for you to be standing out, because that's how you get given more opportunities. It's how you get more credits on your CV. It's how you build up to getting a better agent or your first agent. So you must read your scripts from cover to cover. The third tip is you must ask yourself, what is going on in the white space between the lines? That white space between the lines is just as important as the lines themselves, because this is where the unspoken exchanges happen between the characters. It's where the thought processes happen with your character. So many actors who come to me for coaching and training are not even considering the white space between the lines. And I have to admit, neither did I when I first got started. You only know what you know, right? So we do give a lot of emphasis to lines. But now you've got to ask yourself what that white space means. What's going on in that white space? When you start doing this, you are going to become an actor who stands out. That's so incredibly important. And then the fourth tip is you must ask yourself, what is the punctuation telling you? Because there are clues in this too. The punctuation allows you to unpick and decode the internal rhythm of the character. And that internal rhythm of the character is both their emotional state and their thought processes. Again, when we're first new with acting, we overlook punctuation. We don't give any energy to it because we don't think it's important, but it is. It is bloody vital for you to be looking at the punctuation and asking what's going on. Because what you will do is you will then be able to gauge where the character's at emotionally, and then it becomes easier to connect to it. So let's recap these tips. Number 1, read your script multiple times. Number 2, read your scripts from cover to cover, from beginning to end. Number 3, ask yourself what is going on in the white space between the lines. And number 4, ask yourself what the punctuation is telling you. What does that comma mean? What do those 3 exclamation marks mean? What does that hyphen mean? What does that semicolon mean? Why is there an ellipsis there? These are so important. Now, if you want to deliver characters that land, this is the preparation work you need to be doing. And you do this before your first ever rehearsal. And then once you've done these 4 things, you take your discoveries to the first rehearsal and you test them out and you see how they land and you see what happens. This not only means you've brought a lot to the first rehearsal, it shows you off to the director and to your other cast members as a generous actor. It shows you to be professional. It shows you to have a good work ethic, and it shows you to be a team player. So aside from your performances being so much better, you are then showing up as a true pro, which is a massive asset, because then these directors who are working with you are only going to have good things to say about you. This is, again, so important in the early stages of your career, because you need directors talking about you favourably to the people that they know in the industry, because then you start getting referrals, you start getting more acting jobs, and you can bypass the audition process. This is what happened to me early on in my career. I got recommended for jobs. So I didn't have to do as many auditions, which was really good, because as you've heard me say, if you've listened to the podcast for a while, in the early days I hated auditions. I was terrified of them. So me not having to do auditions was a big old bonus. So we at Standby always want to combine business of acting and the craft of acting, because that's how you get your career accelerating faster. Now, if you have an audition, you still do this same work. But the thing about an audition is you don't have anyone to rehearse it with, usually, who can give you feedback. So what you can do is you can bring this work to the audition zone class for me to offer you the feedback on it. And then I can also tweak the piece and give you any further method acting exercises that you might need to reveal more layers to the character. So things like the 3-word improv, the punctuation exercise, the gibberish exercise that I mentioned earlier, personalisation, sense memory, all of these incredible method acting exercises that get you deep into the character and delivering performances that land with your audiences. The Audition Zone is an incredible class that's available inside the Method Actor Circle. All you need to do is go to bit.ly/the Method Actor Circle. Hope you are feeling very inspired, full of ideas, and ready to smash your next performance. And I'll see you inside the Method Actor Circle. I've absolutely loved hanging out with you, and I really hope you found this episode inspiring. If you have, please do rate the podcast and hit follow so you never miss an episode, and I can help more actors like you. And come and join one of the most supportive, uplifting acting communities on socials, the Unstoppable Actors Facebook group, where you'll get your weekly injection of inspiration, networking, and receive your free Method Actors handbook so you can become an unstoppable actor.